through July of 2020, Mr. Howard Frady.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Howard Frady, Building Codes Director. This is my first meeting, so bear with me. We've had a tough few days between January and now, and as you all know, with the tornado and the virus. But believe it or not, we've worked through it all, and with your support, and Ms. Brock, who has been just completely amazing. So we appreciate her and the council, because I know most of you were down there during the turmoil of the tornado. And it was a very stressful time, but our staff worked very hard to restore power, and our office staff and our inspectors. And so we also have worked very hard with everybody from Walbridge and Borg Warner as well. And obviously that's ongoing, as well as I feel like we've got most of the power and the FEMA request between Mr. Root and myself and Casey addressed for the taxpayers. So that's been something that's kind of weighed on me a little bit. It's just a slow process. And but as far as our office, we have worked. We were a little bit short-handed, and you had the information, I believe. If you look in the information, that you will see that our permits are up, our inspections are up, and we're excited for the future if we can get past some of the shortfall that we've had in staff, which like I said about Ms. Brock, they've helped us get. We do have a new employee that started yesterday, Brad Jones, and he began training yesterday afternoon. And so we'll get him up to speed to where he can properly do his job and support us, and that'll help us tremendously. We did get, we had one vehicle that was damaged in the tornado. I think probably y'all heard. We did get that one replaced, and we do thank Dwayne from the motor pool for working and trying to, oh goodness gracious, and all those folks up on this end of the hall for helping us get all that pushed through. And so we really appreciate the support, and we just look forward to everything kind of settling down, getting some new people, getting our new person trained, and getting everybody kind of back on a normal schedule. So if y'all have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Well, first, let me just thank you, Mr. Frady, and the rest of the team on Building Codes for all the work y'all did. It took a whole lot of folks pulling in the same direction to put things back together after the tornado. So
Yes, sir.
Appreciate all y'all done.
It was a true group effort. Like I said, I know a lot of y'all were down there too, as well as Ms. Brock and half the staff up here. So I was very proud. It's a great job.
We're proud of y'all, and thank you again.
We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Y'all didn't have any questions about permit numbers? Okay. Next up, we have update on residential developments, January through July of 2020, Mr. Adam Chapman.
Good evening, y'all. Katie, can I bother you to scroll down to the piece of paper I stole from you? Perfect. So I got with Lisa Simmering, who's our GIS master, and we were trying to figure out a best way to show you growth over time, because we can show you just one bite, but we kind of want to show you what growth over time. So what this is new addresses. Well, Lisa, on top of doing all the GIS mapping and analysis, she also does address points, 911 addressing. And you can see since fiscal year 2015, starting at 468 to now, those are new addresses per year. And that's really quite indicative over time. There's some spikes in here related to some of our multifamily. Clemson Epic got a whole chunk. So if you remove it out there, we're really looking at a nice, smooth ramp up. We're still growing. I know that there's huge issues throughout the world, but we are still growing. And right now we have, outside of new addresses, I'm in conversations with multiple developers for approximately 200 to 300, that's 200 to 250 new parcels of property in the county and subdivisions. Some on the lake, but most not. They're mostly smaller subdivisions, and that's still a tremendous amount of confidence in the market to lay out that kind of infrastructure for roads and utilities, to create new parcels of land for people to build houses on. So just want to kind of give you a little snippet here showing that we are still growing and that there seems to be very strong, we've been super busy. Howard's office has been busy, planning's been busy. I mean, it's like, hey, are we the only ones hearing the news about the coronavirus? Because there is so much going on. It's pretty impressive. So I just wanted to bring that up to y'all. All right.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Chapman?
I like the maps.
This is awesome.
Next up, we have a discussion of the building code adoption process and related issues. And Mr. Root is joining us from his basement on iPad here.
Thank you, Mr. Very briefly, this is just addressing the manner in which the county has historically adopted the building codes. In 2013, an ordinance was put in place that adopted the current code without a specific. All right, so we have mandatory codes. Most of y'all are familiar with this, and discretionary codes that are outlined. Mandatory codes being the International Building Code, International Resident, IRC, Residential Code, and down the line. The way our ordinance reads now is that any amendments to those codes, as they're approved by the State Building Code Council, are essentially automatically adopted by the county, and that's fine. There could be, but I think to put it most succinctly, I would like to change that so that anytime a new, like 2018, those codes were approved recently, comes out that the county actually adopts by a specific ordinance the codes that are then present. And for the discretionary codes, like the existing building code, the property maintenance code, there are appendices in those codes that council, you all, not the Building Codes Council, but you all would have the opportunity to adopt or not. You have some maneuverability with those. So as opposed to what we have in place now, which has been workable for the last 7-8 years, I would just like a motion directing the county attorney to present to full council a revised building code adoption ordinance that adopts the building code in effect, specific. So it would be the 2018. I just think it's a cleaner way to do it, and it's more of a housekeeping matter than anything. But I've talked to Mr. Frady about it, and he appears on board. So that was the essence of it.
I'll make the motion.
Second. We have a motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Just for clarification, that's a motion to refer to council. I know some people get confused between committee and council, so it'll still come up for discussion at that point in time. And would that not, that would be, if there was changes, that would be a 3 reading, or is that a single reading, David?
It'd be a 3, and I'll bring a draft for council.
Okay.
I'll discuss it before the first reading.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make clear, so if there will be time to talk about it and
Right.
work through it, so.
Right.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Root. All right. Next up, we have discussion regarding Opportunity Zone prospectus funding and letter of support with Ms. Annie Caggiano.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Katie, can you pull up the presentation? And we'll start first with just a general update of economic development activity, what's been going on since the last time we saw each other in March. No, you had the presentation up with Adam's maps. The next slide should be me, I think. there we go. Okay. So since we last met in March, we've had a really big explosion of activity, considering everything that happened, both locally and, throughout the world, when you consider both the pandemic and then locally the tornado. So we saw 6 real estate inquiries, and again, this is just either a broker or someone from Commerce testing the market to see if we have something available that could match a potential project that they're looking for. So that was pretty strong for real estate inquiries. Requests for information, this is typically something that comes from either Commerce or Upstate Alliance. We had 13 of those. It's really just a data dump for a lot of the projects, looking to make sure the areas they're examining both locally and then nationally, how they compare from a cost of doing business perspective. And so Emily has really helped a lot with those. She's our Director of Research and Existing Industry, so she's been pretty busy as well. New projects initiated, we had 10. That means we had a company identified, they came to us and said, this is our project. We know the capital investment, the jobs, the wages. So again, when you consider what has happened since March, really the state shut down mid-March, the whole country shut down in mid-March. So to get 10 new projects in that time period is great for us and a great sign for the economy. Landing pads, these are the small European companies looking to establish sales office. Obviously that has fallen off the cliff. We're probably not going to see those come back anytime this year, maybe sometime next year. Interesting enough, we had 3 separate projects visit between March and July. So 3 companies traveled to the state and looked at property, including in Oconee County. So I think that's a great sign for things to come, because what's happening right now is going to result in projects announcing, early next year, mid next year. So the fact that we're still seeing activity is going to be a good sign for us for the next 12 to 18 months. And then existing industry visits, we still got to fit in a few and did a few virtual ones before people kind of had to take a step back and really focus on themselves. So we've been happy that we still get to engage with our existing industry. And of course, BorgWarner with the tornado, we've engaged with them a tremendous amount. And all of our existing industry, touching base with them at least once a week to make sure they know all the resources out there, both from the tornado perspective, but obviously from the pandemic and the CARES Act perspective as well. So we go to the next slide. Okay, so product development, just to give you all a quick update. Department of Commerce, once everything kind of shut down and we saw a drop in visits, they wanted to find a way to help the counties promote their sites and buildings virtually. So they put a grant out for the local developers for $5,000 per site or building to fly drone footage and also have it presented in a good marketing way. So they're creating their own website at Commerce to house all of these drone videos. And then we'll be working with a vendor to not only fly it, but to come up with different marketing perspectives. We're going to look at an automotive one for one of our sites, and then we're going to look at plastics and metals, but also just broadly about the community and what it means to locate a facility in Oconee County. So that was huge for us. I think it's going to end up being about $25,000 in savings for us, which is great. The Seneca Road project finally completed. If you've driven out there, you'll see that the road is into the park and cul-de-sac at the end. So we're really thankful for Kyle and his whole team in helping us get that done. Again, at Seneca Rail, the water and wastewater project, that was supposed to kick off today or mobilize today. I'm not sure they made it on site quite yet, but that's a huge project for us. We've been working with the RIA, received $500,000 for that project, and our match to that was minimal, estimated less than $100,000. So that's going to be huge, bringing water and sewer into the park. So it's ready to go when we do have a prospect who's going to locate there. And then last, OITP, the road project, we have another entrance going into the park next to the technical college. Worked with DOT and again Kyle's group, and they were very helpful with that. Between the flood, the tornado, and the pandemic, that was supposed to be done in February, but we're really hopeful it's going to be done by the end of this month. As far as marketing and existing industry, we've really tried to just stay in front of everyone the best we could, typically virtually. The project managers at Commerce, the project managers at Upstate Alliance, and then consultants that we engage with across the country. We've really tried to attend any virtual meeting we possibly can or been invited to, and set up individual calls when we have the time. But really, from a marketing and EI perspective, we really turned inward and did some housekeeping. This was a good time for us to take a deep breath and say, are our marketing documents up to date? Are our park flyers up to date? Is the website up to date? So we've really gone inward and started working diligently on that, as well as Salesforce, which is our customer relationship management system. We've gotten that to a great place now where we're tracking all our data, and it makes it a lot easier for us to report and watch trends over the next couple of years. And then Opportunity Zone, if you want to go to the next slide, Katie. So if you recall, the last time we were here in March, we talked about Opportunity Zones and applying for a grant through Department of Commerce to develop a prospectus. And that grant was finally released in May. And we met with Commerce, got the details on it, what we needed to do. We got their list of vendors that have been used by other counties. Really wasn't anyone on that list that we thought was a good match for us. So we reached out to a couple of different marketing vendors. We interviewed 3, and we selected, or proposing selecting Brains on Fire to develop this marketing piece for us. So I put the proposal in y'all's packet, and I'm here to entertain any questions, and we can kind of walk back through the prospectus if you have any questions about that or what the process is or how we're going to use it. I'm here to address any questions y'all have.
Don't have any questions?
Just in review for, what I guess they had to offer, just kind of doing the research and the stuff that you had given us and looking through that. And then looking at what other counties and areas are doing for that. Unless I'm wrong, I feel like, to me, paying a marketing firm to do what, maybe I think it's capable of doing it with the staff that we have. I may be wrong in that. But based on, because the Opportunity Zone, there's all the information is already there from everything that y'all give for workforce, everything like that. So from that standpoint and review of other Opportunity Zones all throughout the state and what other counties are doing, I feel like that's the starting point to do rather than recreate the wheel, because if we wait any longer, we're missing the time frame, to me, of what we're trying to do with the Opportunity Zone. We're going to miss the opportunity. And that's kind of where we've been at for, the last 6 months of, hey, where are we at on, pushing out the Opportunity Zones, now that we, the Newry site kind of fell in our laps, and that was awesome. But it also had a lot of other people asking, well, what else is out there? So, to me, I think it's something that we can create. I'm glad to share the things that I've done and what I've looked at throughout the state. I've been to 10 meetings. I don't know anything about that company or anything like that, but I haven't met them in any of the meetings, and all the stuff is out there. And I feel like if we pay $20,000 of taxpayers' money, we're wasting $20,000. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just me. I think we can create an Opportunity Zone packet that goes to these groups and that are looking. There's 5 to 10 of them that I know of that investors have gotten together in Greenville that are looking at Opportunity Zones all throughout the state. And that's kind of one of the reasons why we got discovered with that one. So that's just, thank you, Ms. Chairman.
Well, I certainly appreciate the vote of confidence in our staff in doing this and developing this prospectus. I think we certainly could. I don't think it would match the level of the document and the marketing materials that Brains on Fire would develop for us. But, we're certainly open to, y'all's ideas. If you prefer staff to do it, we could certainly do it, but it would still take about 30 days. This would take 60 days with Brains on Fire. And again, I just don't know if you would really gain the same work product. And, when we sat down with Commerce to talk about the grant, we wanted to know all the other vendors that had been approved and used and how much the budget was. The cheapest one produced was $18,000, and the most expensive was $54,000. And it ranged from law firms to a planning firm to engineering firms who have done this. And looking at their work product, we just didn't feel like it looked like something we could take to an investor or commercial developer that would really convey that message that this is a good place for development. It was just a data dump. This is what it is. This is what could happen. Some people, I think the one that spent $54,000 had a master plan on some property that the city owned, the Hartsville project that I know we've all heard about. But yeah, we've done our research and we feel that this is the best one to go with, but I'm certainly open to y'all's ideas if y'all would prefer to us to try and tackle it in-house first.
My feeling is that we're in competition with counties, we're in competition with states, right? And so this is a door opener. And the flashier it is, more professional it is, we get a step up in the competition. So to me, it makes sense to go the way you're proposing to go.
I would agree. And at one point, I forgot to mention earlier, with Brains on Fire, Brandy Amadon is one of the partners, and she's the mayor of Travelers Rest and is working now to promote their own opportunity zone. So I think she understands what it means to be a local government and trying to promote yourself and play that game with other professional organizations and, like I said, other counties, other states. There's countless numbers of opportunity zones throughout the country, so we need to make sure we're taking our best shot to get attention, and we felt like using a professional marketing firm was the best way to do that.
So what is their process by developing this? Are they going to be doing like interviews with the community and talking with them about what they want? So I'm thinking specifically about the opportunity zone in that encompasses the Utica area where our industrial Seneca Rail Park is. What's their process by, because there's concern with opportunity zones. I hear it with most of the people I talk with who are in that community about gentrification and changing the community so that, you actually destroy what makes it the community. Will they be working in the community and like holding meetings and stuff to talk about what the people want there, or?
No, sir. This would really just be taking the data that we have that shows that this is a commercially viable place to invest and then packaging it up into that marketing message. I think, what you're talking about is more of a planning exercise and maybe something that we can take and utilize the comprehensive plan that was adopted and make sure that, elements from that are in the marketing plan to show that we have a vision, for the next 10 years for the county. But no, we don't have any plans to engage with the community on this document.
And so $20,000 says $20,000 flat rate for design and research. That's what the county would be paying Brains on Fire for this 20-page brochure.
And we're actually asking for 25.
Okay.
There's an additional 5 for photography, which, to have a good marketing document, we need professional photography to go along with it. So we're asking for the full 25, and then the grant from Commerce would be on a reimbursable basis, and that would be up to 25%.
So we could get, if we spent $25,000, we could get $6,250 back. Is that right? Roughly?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or $7,500. I don't know. I can't do math right now.
I think that's right.
$6,250. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay. I hear what Julian's saying, or Mr. Javis is saying about this. This is, if they're just going to talk about what Oconee County already has, that's what y'all do every day. Of course, to Mr. Elliott's point, we're competing with everybody and their brother and sister to promote their opportunity zones. I know every county in South Carolina has at least one.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume most counties that have any development in them in any state are going to have at least one for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So I know there's, I don't remember how many, like 8,000 of them or something
There's
across
a
the
lot.
country.
Yes, sir.
And, I mean, we're not getting reimbursed that much from Commerce. What does Brains on Fire do differently than what, I mean, I get the photography, and we could use those photographs for other purposes as well, for marketing other things within the county, but what do they do that we can't, we don't have the capability to do? Because it's not like it sounds like a traditional economic development function. Are they just gonna, through their graphics, gonna make it look better, or what exactly are they gonna do?
It's a little bit different sales model. When you think about attracting commercial developers or selling a community holistically, it is different than industrial development. So that's our bread and butter, is industrial development, and that will obviously be a part of this because of Seneca Rail. But I think they bring a different perspective when it comes to even consumer products, are getting to that feeling. This is going to be more about making someone feel good about Oconee, not necessarily saying like, these are our power rates, this is the workforce, these are the wages. It's a different sales model. So we felt like they could really help us with that. Some of the marketing stuff that they've done in the past really spoke to that. But I think too, the examples that we've given them, and we gave all the other vendors that we spoke with as well, we gave them Birmingham and Atlanta, right, as our top two. When you look at their prospectus, they really are comprehensive and sell a vision for the future. And I think that's something that Brains on Fire could really tackle. And again, we could do it in-house, but that takes away, we are pretty busy right now. And so taking both Morgan and Emily away to only focus on this to just gain really 30 days and 20 grand, for me, it's not worth it. But if I understand if that's y'all's direction, absolutely, that's what we'll do.
I don't want, bottom line is, I don't want to delay anymore. Opportunity zones came out in Oconee County well over a year, 2 years ago, and we're still talking about how are we going to market this, which, there is a deadline on these things, unless the new legislation extends the time to invest.
26, yeah.
But we've already missed one of the investments, as people capture those gains and in the sell-offs in the market, and then we missed out on the first round of investment. I would like to see, I'm inclined to agree with y'all just so we have something. And if y'all are really busy right now and you don't have, it's gonna hurt our other economic development, opportunities, that I definitely don't wanna do. But at the same time, I'd like to see involvement with these people, in the communities that will be affected, that are in opportunity zones. I think that's really important, that the concerns about gentrification, that's a real concern. And it needs to be, at least what they're, like the Newry one, that's already got a huge project coming to it there on the north side. And then the rest of it, there's not the same type of community as in the city of Seneca and the surrounding area of Utica and that South Seneca area. Have you talked with Seneca at all about participating in this? Because this opportunity zone is in large part in the city. Are they willing to participate and maybe split it with us or something of this?
We wouldn't have requested any information from Seneca until we got a feel from our council. If you said no, there would be no reason for us to go to
Right.
Seneca. And just as a note, and please do not be offended by this, but technically the 25,000 is not in question. I am authorized to spend up to 50. We want to get your feel for it. I think the advantage here is we have a company, Brains on Fire, who does one thing. They do one thing only. That's what they're going to do for us. This is what the proposal is for. That's their focus and their goal. We don't know how busy the Economic Alliance office is going to be in the next 4 weeks. So we may say we could be done in 30 days, but what happens if we have 55 agencies walk in, or 55 businesses that need assistance, or existing industry that needs something. There are a lot of unknowns, and if there's one thing 2020 has taught us is we have a lot of unknowns. I do think the staff, I mean, obviously they're talented enough to do it. I think time is of the essence, as you and I discussed yesterday, and that a $25,000 commitment with even the $6,250 reimbursement possibility, we would have the product in hand. We would have something that we could actually go out. We could send it to other opportunity zones, so when they have interest in their zones, if they had investors that said, well, this doesn't fit our model, we have something to send other opportunity zones across the country to say, wait a minute, if you have people that aren't interested in yours, you may want to show them ours. I mean, we'd have product in hand.
Yeah, that would probably be the first time ever that someone gave their competition,
Well, maybe. I mean,
number
we
out.
often tell, agencies, and if we don't fit your need,
Sure.
there's someone who may.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens from the industrial
It does.
perspective.
It does.
Have you ever
The state of
worked
South
with this
Carolina Department of Commerce
organization?
does it all the time. Sir?
Have we ever worked with this organization, or have you ever worked with this organization?
I did in Columbia when I worked for a different agency, but it was years ago.
But they haven't created an opportunity zone prospectus yet.
No, they have not. I mean, you can, I think as an example, if we have time, if y'all have internet access, you can pull up unions right now, because it's online based, they didn't even do print. And you'll see what $17,000 got them. I mean, not to disparage another county, but it's like, that was the baseline, and it was just a data dump and scrolling through of this is Union County. So I think, again, going from a marketing perspective and doing it a little bit differently than what the other counties have done so far will put us ahead. And then, to kind of expound on what Amanda said, step 2 is taking it to the market. It'll go on Commerce's Opportunity Zone website. It will go on our website. We have talked to one vendor already about a step 2 and identifying leads and how we push this out to different developers across the U.S. and then sending it to every fund. We have a list of every fund that's established. We can go ahead and send them our prospectus. So, there's always a step 2 to this. It's more about the document and how we push it. And, I certainly hear y'all's concerns. And again, Mr. Kane, going back to the community, both with Newry and Seneca, I think that's just a completely separate issue than the marketing document. I mean, I think they want to be involved, I'm sure, in what the future is of that area. But again, that was kind of captured in the comprehensive plan. And if we need to do more, we need to revisit that. But that I see as a separate thing that we probably need to track than the prospectus, especially if time is of the essence.
Well, time has been of the essence for a year, and, now we're this isn't originally what council had approved, almost a year ago, I guess back in early September of last year.
Yeah, an economic impact analysis was approved, and that's typically something done after the project. So I thought it was just misstated. I didn't know that that's actually the work product that y'all wanted.
Well, it may not be the correct term, but I think the intent of the council was to determine what Oconee County currently lacks in terms of commercial development, what our leakage is to other counties or states, what is needed here, how do those projects overlap, or those type of projects overlap with what will work in an opportunity zone on the Venn diagram, so to speak, and then target those specific types of businesses rather than just doing it broad-based commercial development / industrial development, whatever, to every developer in the U.S. And I mean, or to opportunity zone funds.
Mm-hmm.
But those who say, hey, here's what, I mean, the private industry, we shorten the timeline where they say, we've already done the research. Here's what is needed here. There's already leakage. You don't have to go mine the data and analyze it, figure out what's aren't needed here, we can tell you what we need. And that was economic impact was not the right term to use, but that was the idea. Here we are, 10 months later. And we still don't have a product. Now we've got a proposal to spend money on a 20-page brochure. Can you put in the can there be a requirement for them to reach out to the community on this within the contract so that it comports with what the community wants how it to be marketed?
I mean, I think if timing is of the essence, probably not. Just because unless you could give me a list tomorrow of everyone identified that we need to contact and understand, I guess, how they want to position or what they want in the future. But, that could maybe relate to our phase 2 and who we push this to, what kind of developers we push this to. I mean, again, I don't know, it just sounds like it's a planning exercise and not necessarily marketing. And we do have the data, and we'll share the data with leakage and everything. We can pull all that in-house and work with Brains on Fire on that. But we know what we need. We need workforce housing. We would identify some, maybe even private infrastructure. There's a lot of people getting into private infrastructure now, things like that. But again, when we spoke earlier, there's not a lot of land that we control. So we're still selling a broad idea because even, the land within Seneca or the properties within Newry, we're in contact with those owners, but we still don't have control over them, and they don't have master plans for them either. So I don't think engaging with the community at this level would really reap any benefits right now.
My concern is you engage a group like this, they sit in y'all's office and y'all give them all the information and you're in tune doing the work anyway, but you're letting them put it together. So, and that's happened time and time again with things to where, and it's not, I'm not even talking on countywide, I'm talking about groups that I've been involved in to where you hire a consultant to do stuff and you end up doing all the work and the consultant's the one that gets all the money. So that's just my personal opinion with everything that we've done, all the numbers that have been pulled over the years, everything's right there. So that's why I'm against it. From a standpoint, I haven't seen a product that they produce on an opportunity zone for a government, and I was struggling to find something like that. So, and I don't like unions, but at the same time, having nothing, we have everything there. To me, I think the opportunity zone is a lot simpler. I think we're overcomplicating all of it. And I think this overcomplicates it and pushes it another 60 days. But, I've spent, I don't know, I've been to at least 5 opportunity zone meetings at 2 hours apiece. And I feel like all the information's out there, but like I said, that's just my opinion. So.
Yeah, I'm just frustrated with where we're at with it. I hate to hear that staff can't do it in-house, especially because now we're only getting a reimbursement of 25%.
The previous grant was only $5,000.
It was only 5,000?
Previously, last year, it was only $5,000.
Okay,
It was
I
capped.
thought it was half, up to 25,000.
We're
Okay.
in a tier 2 county, so we only get 25%. If we were tier 3, we would get 50%.
Gotcha, okay. John, any other thoughts?
I just think we need a polished product to give out, and I feel like, I'm sure Annie and her folks can do it, but, photography and just the just a professional, I think would be, I mean, if we want something to really happen, we gotta put our money where our mouth is to make it happen.
Well, I know we've got to finish here too because of the YouTube delay. Any other discussion on this? I guess we need a motion to approve if we're going to move forward with this.
I make a motion to move forward with the proposal that Ms. Pagano had.
I'll second it for discussion. If we don't approve this, what will happen?
If you don't approve spending the money, then we'll take it in-house, but, it will take a backseat to when things come in from the industrial perspective or projects, because that is our first priority right now. And they are, pretty demanding. We have to meet their schedule. They can't meet our schedule. So, we'll make all best efforts to do it quickly, but there's no guarantee that it would be done within 30 days. And it would not have professional photography.
Yeah.
We can get a professional photographer to take pictures and stuff. That's not a problem.
So if we approve this right now, it doesn't go to council, it just is approved out of committee?
If you approve it right now, it is on the council agenda for this evening, because typically we would wait until the committee report comes out, and that would be a month from now. After our conversation yesterday, I did ask Ms. Katie to update the agenda to have this discussion, so the lengthy discussion could be held in committee, and the approval process could go straight to council this evening.
Yeah. Do you have any opinion, one way or another, Amanda?
I do, and I appreciate you asking me. Thank you, sir. I will say that this year's been hard. I think everyone's done their best. If there's one thing we have learned is what we thought we could do, we definitely can do. But I'm with Mr. Elliott in a lot of ways on this one. I've not seen a product from Brains on Fire. I did look through this proposal. I looked through the other websites. I've done a little bit of research and information. I did not have a chance just now to look at unions, but I feel like that we should give the staff the advantage at this time to focus on what needs to be focused on here. Bird in the hand. We've got our industry here. We've got roles here. You saw that despite the pandemic, even nationwide, that we're having site visits and stuff. I hate to think that we've asked to throw on a responsibility to staff that has an office of 3, and Mr. Root, you're on the phone, we're an office of 4 between the attorney and administrator's office, and to be stretched very thinly is compromising sometimes, and I definitely don't want our staff to compromise themselves or anything having to do with marketing the opportunity zone. I do think they're capable, perfectly capable. They're very talented staff. I just worry that if we spread that staff so very thin, that a compromise will have to be made somewhere, and it may not always be your priority that the compromise happens in.
You make a good point. Okay. Any other discussion before I call for the vote? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Caggiano. All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
The move.